Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast on this beautiful, top 5 day in Chicago.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, we don't get many days like this. It is beautiful, and also beautiful. ButcherBox, of course. Join today using our link, butcherbox.com/CHGO. Use code CHGO to receive this exclusive offer today. What's the offer?
It's an amazing offer. All you got to do is go to butcherbox.com/CHGO. And when you get there, you will get the most perfect box delivered to you. Free meat, everything. Live the dream. ButcherBox. I just got mine. Passed along some of my ButcherBox to my brother, and Janice, and my niece Grace, by the way.
Isn't the offer...
You get free meat plus $20 off.
Yeah, free meat plus $20 off your first box. Using the code CHGO.
That's exactly right.
That's the offer.
It's a great offer.
Welcome in. Nathaniel, we are live today. Welcome in. Back live today. Taking you through Saturday this week. We have Bears rookie mini camp. First time Caleb Williams, Roma Dunze will be throwing together in Bears uniforms.
They're speaking on Friday.
They are, so we're going to have you covered. And that's why with the bonus episode we did yesterday, my interview with Richard Hightower, which you can check out if you missed it. And
it was a great interview. I thought you did a phenomenal job. I did not appreciate the shot about me to Richard Hightower, but that's okay.
Well, he kind of took the shot at you.
Right.
He said people who don't
idiots
think
that don't
that this was a good
appreciate the pick.
And then I said yes, like Mark Carman.
Yeah, but you didn't have to. When he said
so you don't want to own your take?
No, he doesn't.
Yeah. So, when we talked to Tory Taylor on Saturday, are you going to tell him?
Yeah,
I don't think you're good?
Yes, I am.
You're going to pretend like you like him now?
No, I'm not going to tell him that he's not good. I'm going to tell him that I wouldn't have drafted him.
Okay. Well, that's why King Poles is the GM, and you're sitting here with me. I'm so thrilled about it.
He is King Poles. You are, I don't know, loser Hoge? Something.
Yeah.
So you're struggling.
Excuse me?
But at least you got Braggs. Look at this guy.
I'm happy Braggs is here today.
You are?
The band is back together.
I was hunting down his brick juice before the show. I thought he had left it over there, so I brought a bottle over for him, and he already had a bottle in his hand. So now he's just leaving brick juices all over the
2-week-old
studio.
brick juice. Now I have 2 bottles of brick juice here for anybody that wants any.
Yeah. I am happy to be here. I am happy you guys are here. I am happy you, most importantly, the YouTube live viewers are here, and everybody listening later to the podcast as well. Welcome in. We are going to talk winners and losers.
Yep. Did you see I tweeted the show? I said, we're talking winners and losers from the 2024 Bears draft. Winners, Adam Hoge and Greg Braggs, are joined by loser Mark Carman to discuss it all.
And Carm didn't even know that when he just called me a loser, too.
God, that's good, Braggs.
Yeah.
That's really funny. HR.
Still looking for HR. Shout out to Papa Hoge, too. He says, hi, CHGO and fans. First day I've been able to watch live in a while.
What's up, Papa Hoge?
We missed you, Papa. Good to have you.
Papa Hoge's working overtime these days.
Papa Hoge is...
He's grinding.
Grandpa duties.
Yeah, grandpa duties are in
no
full
overtime.
Full force up in Minnesota right now. So
I want to get to the winners and losers, but I'm just looking at this tweet from Braggs. Losers not capitalized, you loser.
I did commas and capitalizing.
Yeah, we had
irritate Hoge a little more today.
There was a tweet this morning that the neurotic St. Ignatius education came out. I was annoyed with some capital letters and commas.
That's what I do.
You don't usually use commas. I just don't understand where they came from.
Just never know where I'm going to go.
I thought somebody else tweeted it because it was like, that's not Braggs' writing.
Yeah.
But now it is.
It's too
You
smart.
got comma aggressive. You don't want to be comma aggressive. Trust me. All right. Winners and losers from the Bears draft. Basically, and this could be anything. Like, who won the day, who didn't. I'm going to start with a winner. And honestly, I think the biggest winner is the guy who got picked first. Not just because he got picked first, but because of where he ended up and who else got picked around him, and that is Caleb Williams. Because there's plenty other examples. Like, was Justin Fields necessarily a winner when he was drafted by the Bears? Not really. When you look at it on hindsight and where the situation he got drafted into, where in this case Caleb Williams, first of all, he doesn't end up going to the worst team in the league, which a lot of times that number one pick is. Okay, not only is that not the case, but the Bears also had the number 9 overall pick, and they draft him Rome Odunze, one of the top wide receivers in the draft as well. All the other things we don't have to go into. We've been talking about it endlessly, but this is a great situation for Caleb Williams. So to me, on the list of winners from the Bears draft, he's right there at the top.
Agreed, and I would just jump off of that. Winners alongside, and I mean, we're going to Bears that were here last year, at least at the start here for me, and that is our friend, our guy, my 85 forever, Cole Kmet, and also our friend, my guy at the Combine, loves us, DJ Moore. I think these guys are in a whole different land of football's going to be creatively coming to them. And DJ had a good year last year, borderline great year. Same thing with Cole. But this is a whole nother level for those guys, I would assume. And Rome, by the way, if we're going in the rookie realm, I don't think he could have landed in a better spot because you've got a Keenan Allen in front of him who he can learn from, who probably isn't here forever, an absolutely phenomenal spot for Rome. So that triumvirate is definitely in the winner category.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I think I'd have to start with Gervon Dexter. There was a lot of talk that, Byron Murphy was the odds-on favorite to be the pick at 9. And, to me, that would have taken away from the potential of Gervon Dexter and what they see his ceiling as, right? So they go with Rome Odunze, to much of the fans' delight. And I also think this gives Gervon Dexter an opportunity to elevate himself. He was trending in the right direction to end last year. Now, depending on if they can add another veteran edge before the season starts, you got a good defense behind you. They were playing well to end the year last year. Now you got Gervon Dexter in his second year, and that's a lot of times when a guy like that will make a big jump.
Yeah, that's a good one. We can kind of go back and forth with a round of winners, a round of losers, so I'll do a round of the losers here. I think the most obvious one, and some in the chat are already bringing this up, just Trenton Gill, already cut. Already lost his job. The draft's funny like that, man, because if Trenton Gill goes one pick ahead of the Bears, or what did I just say, Trenton Gill? If Torrey Taylor goes one pick ahead of the Bears, Trenton Gill's probably still the punter. I mean, maybe they would have had some competition, but that's how the draft works sometimes. They drafted his replacement, and they cut him a few days later, just like that.
Yeah, and he definitely falls into the loser category, but I would say this. The Bears actually did Trenton Gill a favor by immediately cutting him, in essence. Go get yourself into someone else's training camp and compete and see if you can win a job. They didn't wait around here and hold him and make sure that, that everything's going to work out with Torrey. They set him free, and he actually now has a chance to be in someone's camp. He hasn't signed with anyone as far as I can tell. So
yeah, he hasn't signed, but to your point, if that had been turned into a competition,
he's losing.
You're not cutting the guy you just drafted in the 4th
Right.
round.
Right.
I mean, remember the hits that the Bucs took for Roberto Aguayo, and then another brilliant move by the Bears. They absorbed all that money and ended up cutting him themselves 2 weeks later. That was a nice move. Yeah, if you are going to make a move like this that Carm hates, you better be right. So you're not going to have a competition and be like, oh, actually, Trenton Gill's still our punter.
Okay, can we take the word hate out? I mean, I don't want.
You hate him.
Okay, that is inaccurate. You hate the selection.
I have nothing against Torrey. I don't hate this selection. I don't think it's not what I would have done.
You hate Australia. Mark Carman hates Australia.
It's aggressive.
I'd love to go to Australia, mainly for the Aussie Open. If anybody has tickets for that.
So you get one guy offers you Wimbledon tickets. Now you're soliciting
Mark
the
Carman
whole fucking world for tennis tickets all over the globe.
That's correct. French Open, I'd love to do that too if anybody's got connections over there. I got Callum, I locked that in. I'll be taking off July 4th through the 8th. You guys have a good time. July 4th is an off day, I'm assuming, for us. So, really.
Yeah, great. We're running out of bodies here.
Mark
Gary
Carman,
Ross is going to be hosting the month of July.
Mark Carman hates that Australia is a continent and a country.
Okay. I look forward to talking to Tori and...
Okay. Do you have a loser?
Did you know that?
Yeah,
Idiot.
Do you have a loser other than continuously
sorry.
bringing up your opinions of Tory Taylor?
Real quick,
my turn.
we got a little bet in the chat here, Mark. Peter A says, Carm, side bet. Taylor pins a team inside the 5 that leads to a safety within the first 6 games. You buy and wear a Taylor jersey on the show.
Yes.
He doesn't, I'll become a diehard and donate $100 to St. Jude.
Done.
Wow.
Absolutely done.
Hey, first of all, poor negotiating by you,
Yeah.
Carm. You should have said, in order to do this bet or to accept the bet, you become a diehard today.
Right. That's a long time
Then
to
we
wait,
do the
Pete.
bet.
Yeah, Peter, you need to become a diehard today, and then I'll accept the bet, and then we can do it, and you can add on with the $100 to St. Jude.
There you go.
What do you think, Peter? I'll give you one of the greatest shout-outs in diehard history tomorrow.
The other thing you should do, not that I'm going to tell you what to do with your money, so I will do it for Carm if Carm loses. If you lose, you will also donate $100 to St. Jude.
Absolutely. Why not? I made him money over here. St.
No,
Jude's
I'm saying I'll do that. I'm getting
you'll do it.
myself involved in the bet.
Oh, look, Hoge's involved.
Peter said I was going to do it anyway.
But
Hey,
I'm only going to
Peter.
do that part.
Peter.
There we go.
Peter.
You'll get a
I love
great
it.
diehard shout out.
I
What can
love
you
it.
say about Peter?
So yeah, I guess the easy one with loser is loser of the draft, not loser in life, would be one of the two.
Yes, that is the segment.
Just to be
clear, we are not calling
because
anybody.
that's exactly because somebody's
losers
gonna
in life
clip
here.
it, and then
Loser.
my loser here is, and then I get clipped for calling someone a loser. We're only clipping things for misinformation on Carm on this show.
And
so,
again, if we're going down literal road, not literally clipped.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So, yeah, it to me, it's a toss-up between Tyler Scott and Velus Jones. I mean, to me, Velus Jones is the low-hanging fruit to say, yeah, obviously, he might not even make the roster.
But why is he a loser from the draft? I actually think Velus Jones was one of the winners of the offseason.
Right, and that's
because
where-
of the kickoff rules.
Right. So that's a really good point. And to me, then you argue, because Tyler Scott, without Rombadunze, might have had a chance to elevate a little more. Now is his role as the guy in the slot that can stretch the field. I guess he still has that role, but how many balls? We were talking about this in the pre-show meeting. How many balls will he really get this year to help elevate himself in his second year? Velus Jones is a gadget guy. This might actually work out better for him potentially if he does make the roster and has a particular package of plays, whereas Tyler Scott is going to have to fend for himself amongst a pretty crowded receiving core, not just with wide receivers, but tight ends and DeAndre Swift as well.
Yeah, but I think he does fall, I suppose, in the loser category. But it's also a hell of an opportunity for him. There's going to be a lot of guys on the field that are going to get attention. One of those guys in Keenan Allen doesn't, at least historically in recent note, play 17 games. So there should be an opportunity for a 3 there outside of the fact just normal rotation in a game. Tyler needs to catch the ball better, period. Justin put it on him a bunch last year, and as a rookie in tight spaces, he was unable to come up with the football a bunch of times. But you would think that with Caleb here and with the excess talent in that room, Tyler could end up running free a lot here and maybe can establish himself as a player in the league. That would be the hope, at least.
A couple other winners.
Do you guys, before you get into that, do you guys see any, because I see Gary and Matthew Gregory, two of our diehards going at, do you see any scenario where Rombadunze is returning punts? 'Cause I don't.
Probably not.
Rome versus Gregory is Ross versus Gregory is one of my favorite things in the history of the chat. Let's go.
I mean, probably, ideally they find somebody else, but it's also, if there is a world, it would be now because Rome Odunze's wide receiver 3.
Mm-hmm.
It's not wide receiver 1. So maybe he gets a shot here and there. I don't think Dante Pettis is necessarily a lock, though, for the roster just because he can return punts. I mean, ideally you have someone else there that can do both.
Am I remembering this correctly? Did Richard Hightower also mention Khalil Herbert as a possibility?
For punts? Or
you just said return, I think.
Yeah,
I'd have to go back and watch.
Because he can do kick returns. And if you are gonna cut Velus Jones and say his job's in jeopardy, then that's the other part of this is who's then your kick returner. Because you could say a lot, you can criticize Velus Jones fairly on a lot of different things, but he has been a good kick returner.
Right.
It's just the value hasn't necessarily been there because there aren't a lot of returns. Now you're telling me there's going to be a lot of returns with the new rule? I'm not in a hurry to cut that guy then.
Yep.
Because that's a very important.
That's what. Yep.
Plus, even from a optics, like almost marketing adjacent thing, this is going to be a big deal, this new rule. And, like, you don't want to be stuck with the shitty return this year. You want to be one of the teams that actually has a good kick return situation.
I mean, I'm seeing a lot of guesses in the chat, but the Herbert part of the equation with Velus, if you are carrying 3 running backs and you spent what you spent on Swift and you like the second-year player Roschon, if you are keeping Khalil Herbert, I think you are looking for ways to use him. But is he a better returner than Velus?
Yeah. Well, look, here's the thing is, there's none of this is determined now. That's why you have the offseason program, and that's why you have training camp, and you let all this stuff sort itself out. The thing we never talk about this time of year because no one wants to talk about it is who gets hurt. Players get hurt in August. And then some of those decisions are made for you. And you got to have depth. And so I know, and then they have some UDFAs that they can throw in there too. And someone will emerge from that group like always. So anyway, those are some winners and losers from the draft. I have one more I'll throw out there too in a minute. First, want to make sure we tell you about, we've been talking, I feel like we've been talking a lot of meat lately, which is great. It's grilling season. It's beautiful outside.
It's lovely.
You want to get your pork.
You do.
Now. Get your pork. People who are active need more protein than the average American. Not going to take a shot there.
I don't know where you were going.
Well, I don't know.
You saying that Braggs is an American?
I don't know. Someone was tweeting about Taco Bell last night.
I was going to say, if we were going to continue winners and losers, I was the loser last night.
You went to Taco Bell. So what you need to do is not do that.
Jenny and I were both losers.
The next time you have
throwing her under the bus.
You took her to Taco Bell too?
She's the one that convinced me to get it. So she's the loser.
Wow.
You're not in control of yourself?
We have no control. We have no self-control.
All right. So next time, don't do that. Think about.
Also, losers would be me and Hoge because at some point he's going to lift up that shirt and show us what's underneath, and then we officially will be in the loser category. Go ahead, Hoge.
Okay. Well,
his nipples?
Okay, now this is going off the rails.
Tell me more about Illinois pork.
This is my fault, Stephen. I apologize. Next time you're going to go to Taco Bell, just think about the Illinois pork producers instead. People who are active need more protein than the average American. In fact, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, Dietitians of Canada and the American College of Sports Medicine recommend 1.2 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day for athletes, depending on training. We're all learning here. I love this. For a 150-pound person, that's about 81 to 136 grams of protein per day. 1 3-ounce serving of pork provides 23 grams of high-quality protein that can help active individuals build and preserve muscle. The International Society of Sports Nutrition recommends that people who are involved in a general fitness program who are interested in optimizing their health eat low-fat, high-quality sources of protein, which include lean cuts of pork. Elevate your protein game with lean pork, powerhouse of natural goodness. Savor the flavor, savor the gains. Celebrate any occasion by enjoying the best pork produced by Illinois pig farmers, from your sausage and bacon for breakfast to pulled pork or juicy chops hot off the grill. It's an entire season dedicated to pork and the people behind the product, paid for by the Illinois pork producers. Generations of commitment.
Sometimes things need to change. And when I changed this morning and put on my Miller Lite shirt, I was like, just meant to be today on a beautiful Wednesday. Grace Carman going for a city championship. Let's go, Lane.
That's tonight, right?
That is tonight. Big city championship. Lane, Whitney Young, high school soccer on the girls' side. Love it. One thing that doesn't need to change, that would be the great taste of Miller Lite, which those high school kids should not be drinking after they win their championship tonight. But, you know, I was once in high school. It was a long time ago. It was the original light beer, and to this day, it is still the best one. Miller Lite has more of the taste you want, less of the stuff you don't. It is straight delicious all the time. Watching your sporting events, hanging out at home, having a deep conversation with a coworker. Do it with a delicious Miller Lite. Keeping it simple, the unbeatable, undebatable quality, great taste, and of course only 96 calories. No matter how your team changes, you can always enjoy the great taste of Miller Lite. Tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered to your door, support the show, the whole thing, visit MillerLite.com/CHGO football, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories per 12 ounces. Thank you to our friends at Miller Lite.
Another winner I wanted to mention, this thing kind of transition to the next thing we were going to talk about. More specifically, some of the people behind the scenes that work for the Bears, more on like the 9 to 5 side, that, you know, are in charge of marketing this team. Not that selling tickets is necessarily a problem for the Bears compared to some other teams, but, you know, anybody involved in sales, things like that. Mm-hmm. Those are people that people don't think about, that when the product's bad, like imagine having that job for the White Sox right now. Not a lot of fun. When you're,
Great gig. You could sleep at your desk all day long and no one could say anything to you.
You're reaching out to an Adam Hoge in February about White Sox tickets, and I'm just sitting there behind my keyboard, tempted not to yell at the guy back. Leave me alone.
When you run the White Sox social media account and you tweet anything,
and you get killed.
Like, win a game, asshole.
Yeah. So these people behind the scenes for the Bears are 100% winners across the board.
Yes.
Getting somebody like Caleb Williams, adding Roma Dunze to it, is and I think this extends beyond the Bears. Caleb's at the Cubs game. The Bears are at the Cubs game. The Cubs get to take advantage of that. Last night they're at the Sky game. The Sky get a little bit of a bump from that right now.
Reese Angel and Caleb are friends.
Yes.
So
Angel Reese would be her name.
Oh, did I say Reese Angel? Yeah, that's what I meant. Yep.
You have to go to 5 Sky games for that comment.
Bo Penix.
Whatever
Bo Penix and Reese Angel.
Reese Angel.
Everybody knows who these people are.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
I mean, you need to sing the Black Crowes Says She Talks to Angels on the show because of that too.
Okay.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. So Caleb's been around town.
Yeah, I believe there are.
Carm's been stalking him.
I believe there are pictures available that we have seen of Caleb hanging out with Rome and Keenan and watching basketball at a great seat. Way to go, Sky! Showing the love to the Bears with a great seat.
Well, and I do think, like, with this Bear Claw that's taking the city by storm, you know, Caleb and Rome have fully embraced it, and then they got Keenan to do it. But if you watch when they were at the Cubs game, when Caleb did it, if you break down the tape when Caleb did it at Wrigley in the suite, DJ's sitting behind him, DJ Moore, and he starts laughing, and some of the guys in the background started laughing. I think Braxton Jones was standing back there too. So I think, I don't know for sure, but I think that Caleb and Rome are all in on the Bear Claw, and some of the vets are like, all right, I'm not doing the fucking Bear Claw.
I mean, I haven't done the bear claw yet.
It's taken the city by storm. You can't stop it. You can only hope to contain it.
No one's.
So, along those lines, I wasn't going to talk about this, but I think I need to talk about it.
Uh-oh.
The Sunday night extravaganza.
Sounds like a B-block hijack here.
It's not really a hijack.
Well, we'll see. We'll be the judge of that.
Well, I mean, I know we've got the pick of Caleb at the Sky game, and I know we have a pick of me as well, but we don't have a pick of what I'm about to talk about, which was, and I'll leave the location undetermined. But on Sunday night, I'm having dinner at Chipotle, and I'm looking out the window, and there's Caleb. He's going to dinner on Sunday night. And I'm like, this was the day after me and Braggs were at Wrigley watching him.
Yeah.
And Cole Kmet was saying, stay away. And I still had those words in my head. I'm like, am I going to go talk to Caleb at dinner on Sunday night?
At Chipotle?
With his friends. He didn't go to Chipotle. He went to a restaurant that was next to Chipotle. So then I'm thinking to myself, well, what would a good reporter do? Well, I mean, maybe my new gig in life is Carm paparazzi. So I proceeded to walk into the restaurant.
Yeah, because a good reporter would leave him
Right.
alone.
Right. So I walked into the restaurant as a bad reporter then. And
Honestly, I'm actually not sure about that answer. Me, reporter, leave him alone. I'm so uncomfortable with that stuff.
so
I would have given him a big
Unless
hug.
I know them really well, which
yeah, you would have sat down at the table.
Yeah.
You would have ordered them $50 tequila shots.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
65? Oh, okay, 65.
You're right. So I proceeded to walk in, and I was hoping that he was like still going to be getting seated or something, but that wasn't the case. They were already in a booth, and so now I'm like, what am I going to do? So I proceeded to like go behind some other booths and like behind like some plants in there, and and like.
By the way, he's not kidding.
Yeah, no, I did all this.
Yeah.
And I took a picture and I sent it to Hoge and like literally no one else.
You can barely see Caleb in the photo.
Yeah, I mean I wanted to let the guy enjoy his dinner. But then I'm walking out and I'm looking at the table because, you know, I'm feeling like, well, Caleb wants to meet me. He's got to notice who I am walking around this fine restaurant. And so then he does look up and he sees me and I clawed at him. And he clawed back to me. We clawed. Caleb and I have clawed. You haven't clawed with Caleb.
No, I've
You
not
haven't clawed with Caleb.
I won't be
I've
clawing.
clawed with Caleb. Carm, greatest CHGO Bears. Carm, clawed Caleb. We're tight.
Okay.
As
So
I've always said,
You're in.
I am
You're in
so
with the claw.
grateful to work with Mark Carman because he makes me look normal. And that I need that. Because if not for Carm, then I would look like a complete psychopath on this show. But because of Carm, I'm not as much of a psychopath.
You're jealous that he clawed at me and you didn't get a claw.
I'm not jealous. I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Nice claw.
I mean, when he speaks on Friday, I'm thinking like, hey Caleb, and I'll claw, then I'll claw back, and they'll ask my question. What do you think? Would that put my credential in jeopardy if I did something like that?
I mean, if you're now doing claws at Caleb, like
Kevin Fishbane claws at me.
Greg Doyle did the heart at Caitlin Clark and got suspended.
Let's not Doyle Carm. Carm does not.
Well, I'm
need
just
to be-
saying, if we're starting to do hand signals in press conferences, I'm just saying I would not recommend that.
Carm's like, do that with me and you'll be all right in this town.
Anyway, that happened.
It was legit a paparazzi.
But I'll tell you, the dude looked like he was having a lovely dinner. Cinco de Mayo, was enjoying himself.
Taken in the city.
Just seemed like
Taken in the city.
he's
I think that part's cool. I think that part's cool. Now, we were surprised he didn't throw out the first pitch at Wrigley. However,
Yeah, or the seventh inning stretch.
Someone else did throw out the first pitch.
Oh, boy. We're getting into this already?
Well, we are because it's called a transition.
I mean, around town.
We might as well knock it out right now.
Don't do this.
But why? Why not?
Because I just don't like you guys see every opportunity you can to go after
Your
my
boy-
Boilermakers.
This was the most pathetic thing in the history of Wrigley Field.
I've seen worse, actually. But your boy, Zack Edey, who supposedly played baseball, threw out the first pitch.
Right.
at Wrigley,
Oh, boy.
and this is what it looked like.
Oh, Zach.
Watch Clark the Cub.
With the biggest mitt ever.
He looks back at him like, what's wrong with you, dude?
This is bad. Why are we going back and to the left? This is like too many times.
I mean, that would not have hit the left-handed
Back
batter.
and
It
to
would
the
have been
left.
thrown way behind him. Like that
Oh,
was like
man,
Randy
Zach.
Johnson, John Kruk in the All-Star game.
I'm surprised it was that bad of a throw. Obviously,
Me
he
too.
overthrew. He was a pitcher in high school. The story is told many times during his career at Purdue. He was a hockey player and a baseball player before he picked up a basketball 6 years ago, and has since become the 2-time National Player of the Year. Now, to be fair to this guy, holding a baseball for Zack Edey is like us throwing a golf ball.
Okay.
It's not easy. Like, he's got giant hands, so it's much different than you throwing a baseball. But
No, that's what it is.
I think
it's the hand.
he hasn't thrown in
It's
a
the
while.
hands. Well,
Come on, give him some.
I would just like to point out that once again, it's more of Hoge bragging rights over Purdue, because there was once a time in 2018 where this first pitch happened.
Right on the money.
Yeah, well, he
mean-
didn't try to rip it either. Edey was
That
trying
was
to
a
throw
rip-
smoke at Clark.
Are you kidding? That was a rip for Hoge. Let's.
I mean, I
See
would
it
call it a
again.
rip, but it was. But Lucas Giolito's glove didn't move there at all.
Giolito was impressed. You could see the look back, like, okay.
Yeah. Fun fact too. This was the jump start of Lucas Giolito's pitching career. I showed him how to throw a strike there, and the rest of it was history.
Fun fact too. Me, Hoge, and Andy Mazer were all doing White Sox pre and post there, and somehow Hoge was the guy that got to throw out the first pitch. They didn't even acknowledge that I was doing those broadcasts. Hoge.
If it makes you feel better, no one knew who I was when I was doing that.
That does not make me feel better. You got to throw out the first pitch.
I'm out,
Maybe
they're like Adam Hoge and like all these White Sox fans.
Why did they ask you? Just for, I mean, I know your coverage.
Because he just told you.
I wasn't listening.
Because
the White Sox were on
We were-
WGN. We were the pre and post game team.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see.
Thanks for listening.
So but exactly.
So
So we were doing pre and post game at the time. Carm got jealous because I got asked, not him.
I did White Sox Weekly
it's
for
'cause
2 hours every Saturday that me and Ed Farmer listened to.
Maybe it's because one of the three of us grew up a White Sox fan. The other two were crying when the Cubs won the World Series.
I fainted.
I think that's probably why they asked me to do
the
it.
record.
I'm just saying.
I got you.
Hoge greater than Zack Edey, though, is the point of that segment. And now we get to talk about ComEd, right?
Yeah.
Carm and Bragg.
Yeah, we sure do.
That's right, Gregory, and it's great to be here with you today because it is getting easier for businesses to switch to electric vehicles. That's something we can all get behind for the health of the planet and for the well-being of all of us who share it.
That's right, Mark Carman, because I am listening when you're talking through your mouth hole. The electric grid is evolving to meet your cleaner energy needs as we all move with confidence towards an electric tomorrow, whether you have one delivery van or a whole fleet of shipping trucks. ComEd can help guide you to make changes that make sense.
What should business owners do then, Gregory?
I'll tell you. Are you guys listening? Are you listening, Adam? Should be, because you
Yes.
go to comed.com/clean to learn more about the resources, fleet rebates, and infrastructure incentives available to help businesses go electric. Cody Del Mendo is electric. If you own a business, don't wait. Start making your plan today to switch to electric vehicles. Good for business, good for the planet, good for all of us. Go to comed.com/clean.
Let's all say it together. Did you say comed.com/clean?
Yes, sir. We didn't say it together, but you can go now and see how going electric connects us to a better way of doing business and a better future for generations to come.
Our friends at ComEd, we appreciate you being back with us. Yes, Adam.
How long do you think we'll sit in silence here before?
I don't know.
Before
Okay, I'll do it. I'll tell you about PrizePicks, the largest daily fantasy sports
Wait.
platform.
I was supposed to do PrizePicks too. Since when? You told me ComEd. Go ahead.
I got it. We're all
that
good.
one's on me. I own that mistake.
We are.
We can all read it together.
Well, meanwhile, PrizePicks is just.
I love PrizePicks.
PrizePicks is happier that I'm doing this. The easiest and most exciting way to play DFS, just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on a 2 to 6 player stat projection. You watch the winnings roll in. PrizePicks is a lot of fun. You could test your skills during this playoff basketball season. The most simple way to get in on the action. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, submit your lineup, boom. Makes the game more interesting. You follow along the whole time. It's a ton of fun. You can win up to 100 times your money during this basketball season. And the star players just mean more on PrizePicks. Keep an eye out for starred players on the board. You could receive a 10% payout boost if they are in your winning lineup. Go to prizepicks.com/CHGO, use code CHGO, and you'll get a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/CHGO, and use code CHGO. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. And I will say this, too. Boers and Bernstein used to do a segment called Mundane Sports Achievements, and, like, that first pitch will forever be probably my highest athletic achievement in life, and so I'm never going to apologize for bragging about that strike. Because if we're being honest, I was way more nervous for that than any show I've ever done in my career.
Good.
And I was like...
It was a good throw.
All I could say was, don't... And, in fact, I don't know... Were you there for that? I forget. Were you there?
I was not.
Because right before I went up there, Ricky Renteria just... Remember Ricky Renteria?
Don't bounce
he
it
goes,
or something?
don't bounce it. I'm pretty sure you took that video.
I think I did take that video. Maybe I was there.
And honestly, if I have to be honest, Zack Edey kind of reaped what he sowed because he brought 2 teammates with him to Wrigley, one being Fletcher Lawyer and the other being Ethan Morton. And Ethan, who is a Pittsburgh Pirates fan, wore a Pittsburgh Pirates jersey on the field and took a picture with Zack and Fletcher to allow this to happen. I mean, Zack should have nipped that in the bud real quick. I know Matt Painter's a season ticket holder. I know Matt shouldn't be allowing this kind of tomfoolery either.
If you buy tickets to the game, wear whatever jersey you want.
Right.
If you're getting like a gift from a team.
They invited them there.
I was just impressed that Hoge acquiesced to the moment. There you go for my MJ fans out there asking for MJ.
Oh, man.
People have been requesting that. Shocking, I know.
He rose to the circumstance. That was amazing. You threw a strike. All right. Hey, real quick, just around town since we're doing all that, Caleb and whatnot, I just want to say a shout out.
Oh, we just turned into Anna Belival and WGN?
I love Anna Belival.
Around town?
To my guy Amrith, I believe we have a photo. Steven, can we please put that? I was watching your interview yesterday with Hightower at Panera yesterday, and my guy Amrith came up and said hello.
To all 7 of your chins.
This is a guy who could talk. But look at, if you see, for those watching live, no one has. First of all, I asked him to take a picture with me, and
You asked him?
I said, "You want to take a picture?" And the
other way around, Carm.
I know. And the cheesiest picture, like nobody has been ever. No one gets as happy for someone to get recognized. Thank you. Know what I'm saying?
Wait, can we back up? Did this actually start with you just going up to a random person saying, "Do you happen to know who I am?"
No, so he came. he.
Will you take a picture with me?
He came up to me, and it was super nice, and he was slightly. It was the most adorable / like nervous, like, so sorry to really bother you, and I'm like, bother me. I'm not doing anything ever. You could always come and say hello. I'm hanging out. But then I asked for the pic, and then he posted the pic, and I look at myself like, I'm literally the happiest person ever when anyone's asked to take a picture. And I technically did. I tried to make it, I tried to get on the level with Amrith. But Amrith, you're the man. Good luck in your podcasting career and every other thing else you're doing. It was a nice long conversation at Panera yesterday as I listened to Hoge and Hightower. Amrith. My guy.
Amrith, thanks for making Carm's day. That's very nice of you. We have a super chat here from Football CF Candy, one of our loyal supporters here $4.99 pound sterling. Says, Braggs, they're playing the clip of you saying Green Bay sucks on ESPN Milwaukee. On a more serious note, could someone ask Poles about trenches and edge? Okay.
Center plus edge.
Trenches, center, and edge.
He's not.
Got it.
Do we get Poles this weekend? I don't remember
No.
seeing him on the list.
I don't think we'll hear from Poles probably until start of training camp or the next time Albert Breer writes a story. One of the two.
Right. We get Flus, Caleb, and Rome on Friday, and then Waldron, Eric Washington, Amagaji, Torrey Taylor, and Austin Booker on Saturday.
Yeah. Actually, we get a loaded weekend here. I'm excited.
Yeah,
Get the rookies, got coordinators, assistant coaches. A lot of these guys for the first time.
Yep.
Second time with the coordinators, the new coordinators at least.
Yeah.
So, all right. Yeah, you should have done the bear claw on the pick, Eric says. I think he's right.
Harshbarger. That's not a harsh take right there. You're on it. I should have clawed. All right.
Well, speaking of Albert Breer, the reason
Yeah.
why I just brought that up is because he had a great, long breakdown of the entire Bears courting and researching of Caleb Williams that led to the pick. It was very well done, and talked to both Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus. Bunch of little nuggets. Some of the stuff we knew, some of the more specifics we didn't. I know, Carm, that you've probably spent the most time kind of really diving into this. Did you have any like big takeaway you wanted to get to first?
No, I mean, overall, I just think when you read it, you just feel confident that Ryan Poles is doing the right things when it comes to building this roster, which we've seen mainly in the locker room. You have a lot of just really good dudes in there. You can't really turn anywhere and find somebody that you don't like, with the one exception being Chase Claypool, who was here for all of 5 seconds.
Right.
And they got that guy out of there
quick.
They got him out of there as quick as possible, admitted the mistake, and moved on. That was an awkward stop.
It was, but I think the more and more time we get away from that, we actually acknowledge that as evidence that this whole thing's working. Because you're not going to bat 1,000 as a GM. You're going to make mistakes. Some are going to be more glaring than others. That was a glaring mistake. And it kind of set the tone from an accountability standpoint. I actually thought it took a week too long for them to make the move, but they did it. So I think that helps in the locker room. And then on top of it, it just shows a willingness to be, to say when you're wrong and move on and not be stubborn about it.
Right, and he talked about trading for Montez last year and how he worked around the building and people told him don't be shy and get back in there.
For it.
And
Keep swinging.
And he did. Shout out to, I thought national scouts Francis St. Paul and West Coast area scout Reese Hicks, they were mentioned in the piece, who kept telling Poles that he needed to, quote, go back out to California and around the people at USC. He find out they promised that the narratives that circled Williams while the Trojan season circled the drain weren't real. Investigate it yourself. They said, read our reports, investigate it. So the whole Hollywood thing, which you hear Poles talk about, and you heard him talk about as far as like 4 months ago, that he's actually opposite that he is much more interested in playing football than being in commercials or living, quote-unquote, the Hollywood lifestyle. So, I mean, the scouts were telling him that. He went down that road, and then he became somebody basically telling everybody that this is not who that guy is. He's telling that to Bears players. Hey, when you meet him, this is what's going to be.
Well, right, because at the same point in that article, they said, they tasked all the coaches that were going to the All-Star games to ask every player that played with him or played against him or coached against him, like ask anybody that has any kind of connection to Caleb about him, which that was stuff we were doing as well when we were going to these events, Senior Bowl and and everything else in combine and asking those connections. And to a man, everyone had great things to say about Caleb.
Yeah, he writes, Poles assigned one of his scouts to call opposing coaches in the Big 12 and the Pac-12, in particular defensive coordinators who game planned against him. And then Poles is quoted, that's where things started to turn. You started to get this feedback from players at the All-Star games who were like, quote, I love this guy. I was in a rut, and he helped pull me out. He's a dude. He's selfless. He takes care of his teammates before he takes care of himself. I mean, those are high-level human qualities right there. That's big-time stuff right there. Two opposing defensive quarters, quote, we had to change everything before we played him. And then Foles is saying, if you're doing that, that tells you enough about the kid's talent. So, and then Eberflus gets in there. They talk about the variance of speed on the football.
Yeah, that was very interesting. That to me was one of the more interesting things that I hadn't heard before, where they talked about what you said. Like most people's margin of variance is like 4 miles an hour on a throw.
Yeah.
And his was 10 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And was that on just short throws or just any throw in general? They were talking about his control of understanding.
Yeah, were they timing like game throws on that, or what were they? When were they timing that?
I'm not.
It was just something listed in the story.
Yeah. Well,
but
it didn't specifically say here. I pulled it out of there.
Well, it doesn't really matter. But
yeah.
But this came up on Hogan Johns yesterday too. It's like where someone asked us to pick like what's the number one attribute that stands out above the rest with Caleb, and to me that's the one I picked, was just the different types of throws. Like he's just got so many clubs in the bag, and even good quarterbacks don't necessarily have more than 3 to 4 different throws that they really lean on. With Caleb, it's multiple different arm slots, and even on deeper throws, like sometimes you see the moon ball. Other times you see it more on a line. But that's going back to what you're talking about, though, with the speed variance, because I hadn't really thought about it that way until this was in the story. That makes sense. Because to have touch, to have a strike right down the middle, you can't throw it hard, Zack Edey.
Right.
You got to take some pace off it to get it to Lucas Giolito's glove correctly,
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Caleb does.
Well, that's what he said, like on some of the back shoulder fades, like sometimes you got to throw it hard, sometimes you got to have a little touch on it. And Caleb understands the difference in the situations when to change those up. So, to me, that those were things that stood out. I think the other thing that stood out was, when we talk about winners and losers here earlier in the show, I think a big loser from this article are all the people that tried to make the Notre Dame game the alarm to ring off to why to not draft Caleb, when Ryan Poles looked at it exactly the opposite of that.
So
that just shows that he was already in love with him, by the way.
Yeah, so I want to push back on that a little bit, because, and we won't know the answer to this really for some time, but one of the hardest things about going through these long stretches of evaluation before the draft is you kind of you kind of have your own confirmation bias,
right?
And we all, whether it's us, or because I wrote that story back at the Super Bowl, and all these people basically tell me that this stuff was BS, and like I was trying to fight that too, like even what I wrote sometimes, to be like, well, I can't just take this as like the gospel, because somewhere at some level there's somebody who did have a problem with him here. Like it just doesn't come out of nowhere. Like, you know what I mean? But obviously, and this was, I think, reiterated in the story, when the dust all settled on this and you did talk to as many people as you could, most of it was BS. Like maybe he's not the highest regarded teammate of all time, but no one really has a problem with him. Right? Like, most of his teammates love him.
Right.
So is it unanimous? Probably not, but it rarely ever is unanimous. So there's just, anyway, getting back to the Notre Dame game, there's parts of what Ryan Poles is talking about that I can get on board with. Like the fact that Notre Dame changed their entire defense basically for that game to stop them. is an enormous compliment. It is also a valid explanation for his challenges in that game and some of the struggles. That game was definitely the exception to the rule in Caleb Williams' college career. And in the context of understanding what really happened and what Notre Dame did, I do agree that, like, those can't all be spun positively.
Sure.
Going as far as, and this was the lead in the story, like, it really impressed Ryan Poles that he went up to Joe Montana and said hi. I was like, okay. Like,
No, I think
some
more.
of these are
I
a
think
little
more
bit-
so how he conducted himself
Yeah.
when the things weren't going right, because his tape is full of positives.
Yeah.
So Ryan, I'm sure, would have loved to see him throw 7 touchdowns that night, right? He went to see, and they documented this in the Albert Breer piece, how he went to every quarterback and saw them live in person and saw the way they acted on the sidelines and were with their teammates and stuff. So, when you see them in a losing effort in a tough game, maybe his toughest game as a college player, then now you're evaluating that, how he handles himself in that moment. So to me, that you don't get many opportunities to like really see the cut of his cloth, to see how he is as a leader when the chips are down, because he's going to go through those moments in Chicago. And that was what Justin was great about, is never too high, never too low, and was always a great leader. And his teammates always rallied around him, whether the team was going good or bad. So seemed like that's what Ryan saw in Caleb on the sidelines at the Notre Dame game.
The Fields part of the article, for the record, I found to be kind of comical too. Like, I loved the Poles part of it. Exit interviews, Poles told Fields that the situation the organization faced was unique in that, again, the team finished strong, but still the first pick. He pledged to be transparent and honest. Okay. And then there's a comment from the Floose.
Where he's like, we're still going to be friends.
We're still going to be friends. Can you imagine Justin Fields on the phone listening to Matt Eberflus saying that we're still going to be friends?
And they can't
Okay, buddy.
the relationship we built. They can't take that away from us.
We thanked him for his leadership, for the work ethic, and just the man he is, how he's been a wonderful guy, Eberflus said. I just told him, hey, I really enjoyed our relationship together last couple of years. That certainly doesn't end here. The relationship that he and I built over the first couple of years is special, and no one can ever take that away from us.
Yeah. You can't, Carm. Don't try. You're trying right now.
That just
Don't take it away from him. You're trying right now.
You are trying to take that away from him.
Don't take it away from him.
I think the other two big takeaways I had from the article were,
they're never going to speak again.
I don't know about that.
If they run into each other, I'll bet they'll talk. But I guarantee you, there's never a phone call. Justin, when he gets on the field next year for the Steelers and he has some great game, he ain't calling up the Floos to celebrate it.
Brady and
promise you.
Belichick were on the stage together the other night, the roast of Tom Brady.
Hey.
Maybe someday we'll get maybe
roast of
someday
Matt
Matt
Eberflus.
Eberflus will have 6 Super Bowl rings, and there'll be the roast of Matt Eberflus, and Justin Fields is the first guy up there to roast him.
I'm maybe they'll be at a summer home this come June when things are a little slow, and they'll just be hanging out on a paddle boat together, talking about how it would have been sweet if they could have been on that paddle boat together in Arlington Heights if the stadium deal ever gets done.
the other two big takeaways I had from it were that Keenan Allen wasn't asked by Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus to come to Caleb Williams Pro
No,
Day.
he
He
wasn't.
did that
That's
on his
true.
own volition, so that was cool. And then the other one was what they termed as the leadership committee that Caleb met with, from the Bears players when he came for his pro day in Chicago, or not his pro day, his 30 visit. And Cole Kmet obviously being one of those, TJ Edwards, Tevin Jenkins. That surprised me, just like from and DJ Moore, I think, was the other guy. So I thought that was interesting that they were dubbed as the leadership committee, and Tevin is on that. Which, I mean, Tevin is a leader for sure. Like, he plays with a lot of brute force, but it was interesting to see that he was one of the players selected to be in that dinner.
Good job by SI. That was an outstanding job by Albert Breer and company.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great story. You can check it out. It was Albert's Monday morning quarterback column.
I just love how we got shit from all the people like, oh, asking every single person about Caleb Williams.
I know.
Yeah, well, that's what the Bears were doing.
Yeah, that's literally what they were doing.
So take that, John Greenberg.
Yeah.
Greenberg stray out of nowhere.
Well, he was making fun of CHGO at the Super Bowl for every question being about Caleb.
Yeah.
Well,
Clearly, that wasn't justified.
I mean, John's a great Northwestern fan, so I would never say anything bad about John Greenberg.
Then
He can haze us all he wants. We know deep down in his heart he loves you, Braggs, and CHGO.
You hesitated before you said Braggs.
No,
because somebody tweeted at me.
he actually
was
is
like,
a Braggs fan, I think.
I like John. I think I enjoy people that are sarcastic funny. Potsy and Cam Ellis. I like sarcastic funny. But he did try to big time me because somebody was asking like, oh, the media never holds the media in check. And I was like, well, John Greenberg said I was being unprofessional at the Super Bowl asking everybody about Caleb Williams. And John DM'd me and was like, I didn't even know that was you asking the question. He pulled the I don't know who you are card.
It's a great card. I mean,
It's a good card.
Who you are.
You're climbing, Braggs.
Do we need the shout-outs real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, my shout-out. Shout-out to Lawrence Holmes' 26th anniversary at 670 The Score.
Carm?
Yes. Well, I want to shout out our newest diehard.
You want to shout out Lawrence for his...
Hey, Lawrence and I started together way back in the day. We battled it out to be Les Grobstein's producer.
That means I was producing for Lawrence somewhere around year 13 or something?
Something along those lines.
12, 13?
The man has had...
He would remember me producing for him, unlike Matt Spiegel, who completely forgot the 2 years I produced Hit and Run for
Are you
him.
going to plan something for his 27th anniversary, Mark Carman?
Guys, I think he's going to 50. I'm going to wait for the 50th myself, but...
I like to celebrate every day that I live.
I know, you're exhausting.
And
It's
so don't.
I've never
If Lawrence wants to celebrate 26 years, I want to celebrate. I got 2 years coming up here at CHGO, coming up 1 year on full time. So I'm going to celebrate both. I'm going to start celebrating
if you're gonna do
month
that,
to month.
If you're going to do that, then say that your 17-month and 14th day anniversary.
I'll do that.
Congratulations.
I'll do that.
A diehard man, my guy Jacob. We have one amazing diehard today. By the way, become a diehard.
So it's just my shout-out?
Why would it
Why
be
is
your
it your shout out?
Okay. I was the only one that did one.
Did what?
Okay.
Only Hoge did a shout out. Did you guys not have one?
No,
we're supposed to do shout outs?
I'm shouting out a diehard. That's what I'm doing. But
Wait, will you just jump shout out segment onto us? When did that start?
Like, we started the shout out segment, and like we haven't done it.
Do you guys at least listen to the show? Because these guys don't.
Wait.
Do you guys listen?
We've been doing shout outs? Really?
Yeah.
Since when?
Since I said, let's get to the shout-outs. Shout out to Lawrence Holmes for his 26th anniversary at 670 The Score.
I'm gonna shout out.
That was the moment.
Shout out to Kenny Powers. He's leaving. Goodbye.
I'm gonna shout out to Ben Kaplan, who wrote Pipeline to the Pros with Danny Parkins, and there is a really cool tweet out there about an interaction with Ernie Johnson, and
I saw that.
it's a great read. I retweeted it. Phenomenal story, tender, and that is a great use of Twitter. Ben, shout out to you. And you're not going to derail me. Shout out to our newest diehard, Jacob, who is clutch, who is a winner, who has the body of an Adonis. He's also incredibly flexible. Guy can do a Pilates, can do a yoga. It did take him a minute to find your groove in life, Jacob. We know this. But once you got there, there was no stopping him. That's right.
Any of these references.
If you got to win one game, you want Jacob there to get you to the top of the mountain. Victory, competitor, winner, sexy beast. That is you. That is Jacob, our newest diehard.
You going like Jake Arrieta in there? What was going on?
Thank you for not getting what I thought was the most obvious.
Did I get it?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Jake Arrieta.
How do we know?
Because
how do you know Jake Arrieta is named Jacob? Could just be Jake.
Okay.
Because there's this thing called the internet. And then when I was going through different Chicago personalities that had the name Jacob, Jake Arrieta came up.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm actually proud of myself that I got that.
Good job.
I don't think it was that obvious.
It wasn't.
But I was going, okay, he said it took
clutch,
you a little while
winner,
to get
body
going.
of Adonis, incredibly fun. Don't you remember the Jake Arrieta Pilates with the
Well, that's what I think got me was the Pilates thing. But what you gave him a lot of credit for his body in that.
He's got a great body. Jake Arrieta was a linebacker pitching for the Cubs. Jacob Joseph
Didn't he
Arrieta.
do one of those like ESPN
Like naked?
nude? Yeah, one of
He
those
was
things.
mopping with his shirt off. The guy looked incredible. Then I mopped with my shirt off, and I didn't look incredible. There's a fan-sided video of me doing it. It was like,
Don't do that.
I mopped.
Don't.
Naked with pants.
All right, let's get to super chats. Shout out to
Do you have any
everybody-
shout-outs,
Everybody,
Greg?
no. My next shout out is to everybody watching the show and being patient with you guys, and Steven being patient with you guys.
Okay.
Happy birthday to Jacob Stout. He's turned 40 today.
Is that our diehard or is that a different Jacob?
I don't know, but he is named Jacob.
Okay.
Happy birthday.
Well, you also have the body of a Adonis or whatever the hell Carm said. Victor Cruz back in here, 199. Komet in the region.
Let's get it done.
How's it coming along, Carm?
I don't know why the question with Carm correlates with that.
Because it's coming along great, Victor. Great to see you. Thank you for being here. And
Well, because wasn't there a thing about getting Cole Komet to the region? Isn't that why?
I mean, we should get this done. I think it's improbable, but at the same time, could be epic.
It's more likely than getting me to the region.
I know I ain't going to the region. Guys want to come? There's fireworks, and you can park in my cul-de-sac. We're coming up to the year anniversary of that.
For the record, I still appreciate that invite.
Yep, never again.
I
Never again. I'll invite Steven to my house. I will never invite you two to my house ever again.
am not coming, so that's a good thing.
I'm coming. I'm gonna show up one day unannounced and uninvited,
I'm not.
and I'm just gonna sit in your garage with your new refrigerator.
If I ever cross over into Indiana,
And you guys, one day, shut up. One day you guys were talking shit about Whitehawk, the golf course that I was saying I was golfing on.
the
You
field,
guys were.
the field.
country
don't
club?
say you guys.
You both were talking shit about it. You were. You were like, anyway, it is a very nice course.
I
Because you
believe
guys
you.
were saying it wasn't. It's an Arnold Palmer course, and Michael Jordan has a parking spot or had one there for a long time.
I take
He's
it back. I love Whitehawk. Anytime you can fly with the hawks, you can sing with the seagulls. I'm coming. I'm in. Whitehawk.
right,
Brags.
Do we have super chats? Or can
We got one
Or
left.
can I go?
K of Spades, $10. He said, excited about flying up from Alabama for a tailgate this year. Going to paint the
go.
town red. Idiom for Mr. 35 plus 20 equals 50 brags. Also, no kid sizes on the merch. Question mark.
I know. I do wish there was kids' shirts, but
It's a good point.
to get Addie a shirt, but I don't know if
I
I
love
think it's
kids.
just an inventory aspect of not having too many of those. Can you not? Say
Problem
that?
with kids' clothes in general is they just don't. They just grow. Stop growing.
Right.
They,
It's,
they just you buy them the clothes and then 2 months later it doesn't fit.
It's a ubiquitous investment.
Yoshino $5 as we just continue to ignore Carm's presence.
I'm clipping when he said I love kids.
Oh God. Did you guys see the interviews Komet, Edwards, Moore, and Flus with Kay Adams?
Yes.
I didn't
Kay
know.
Adams apparently is the most popular person in the history of Hallis Hall. She shows up and gets to talk to everybody. I mean, we got to beg to get a one-on-one with Hightower or get Hightower.
They just gave us him for. We had like a 40-minute
Yes,
conversation.
Carm, breaking news. Kay Adams is on a upper echelon than you.
She had
us.
one-on. She had. I'm jealous. Let's just name it. She had one-on-ones with DJ, with Flus, with.
Okay.
Well, for one, Kay Adams isn't a creep like you, so that's a starter.
Did you hear what he just said?
I did.
Somebody cut
I'm
off his
listening.
mic. You don't understand that now you're like running down the program. I'm trying to lift us up that we're on the Kay Adams level. You're saying we're not Kay Adams. I'm saying we are Kay Adams. Now you just called me a creep. HR.
2 HR calls.
Can we talk about the B thing with Eberflus, though?
Yeah, that is actually where.
Oh, please.
if we're going to talk about the Kay Adams thing, once again.
Can we do Flus Jordan voice? I love bees. They make honey.
They said they make honey, and,
What was his
and
quote
they're
about
fun to
bees?
look at. Or they're fun to watch. They're fun to watch.
Bees are fun to watch.
I hate bees.
Nobody's ever wanted to watch a bee other than get away from me. Flus is sitting there watching
No
bees.
one even wanted to watch the bee movie.
Beekeeper. So wait, let me get this straight. Matt Eberflus has a bee.
Matt Eberflus
Colony?
makes honey. He has a honey jar.
Whatever the properties they bought had like an area with bees, and they said, "Do you want to keep it?" And they said yes. So now they have honey, and they bottle it and they bring it to House Hall.
All right, so
He's bringing honey to his coaches and people at
how
House Hall.
can we
If,
do?
if there's not a bottle of Bieberflus honey or whatever they're calling it on my desk at House Hall, I'm going to be upset.
Should we go?
I want to do an exclusive on this. I want to go to this bee
Oh,
colony.
I'm not
with
going. I hate
Flus.
bees. I'm not going.
I don't like bees either, but I got to see this shit.
Not going.
I'll go.
Please, I'm sorry for trying to fire you.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Let's go.
You can have 5 bees sting me for trying to fire you last year.
I'm sorry.
That would
I
be
tried
funny.
to-
He lets you near the bees, and then he just unleashes them, and they just swarm you. I'd sign up for that. I'll go if I can
That'd
watch.
be the greatest thing ever.
That's the situation where bees are fun to watch.
Okay, you can come and we'll do a one-on-one. We have to, you're going into the nest and they're gonna sting you until you die for trying to fire me. Are you in? Are you allergic? If you're not allergic, then you're not coming. You must be allergic. Then we'll have you here. Hey, good for the Flus, man. I'm glad he's got some hobbies. Just
Yes.
a lot on his
He
plate.
plays a lot of golf. He could kick all of our asses in golf, especially Greg.
Goes to country shows, hangs out with the bees, and builds a defense. That's our guy.
I love him. I think you guys, Carm, you especially, need to embrace the Flus more.
The Flus and I think we have a good rapport. Every time I talk to the Flus, we look into each other's eyes, and I feel good about it.
I could see you owning a honey situation.
Whenever this media career comes to an end, I'm going to become a beekeeper. That's going to be my gig. I'm going to be a substitute teacher
You
beekeeper.
might want to start your research then.
I love bees and honey.
All right.
You can put honey on toast. You can put it on apples.
Greg left us
You
45
can
seconds
use
ago.
it for other things.
Jose Ochoa says, you guys are in rare form today. You are absolutely right. We had a whole show before the show at 10:30 this morning for about an hour before we all went to our areas to read this Albert Breer article or go over it again.
That was such a good idea.
And so that the whole first show was an epic show of hilarity.
If you thought this
So
show was good, you should have seen that one.
it just spilled over. It's going to be a fun summer.
Yeah.
So buckle up, Kenny Powers. You said you were leaving.
No, he
you
said
lied.
he was leaving like 30 minutes
Yeah,
ago.
he's still here.
Yeah.
Because you can't
Man, settle-
resist the comedy that is the what does Finley call it? What does Guy Finley call this? The Meatball Mayhem Hour.
Meatball meltdown.
Meatball
Meatball
Meltdown Hour.
Meltdown.
That's right. We're 9 minutes into the Meatball.
I'm coming
Meatball
for you,
Meltdown Hour.
El Sancho Carm, 2 months away from retirement.
Thank you, El Sancho. I tried to make that joke, but I didn't do it very well. So Carm didn't.
Whatever, El Sancho.
Yeah. All right.
at
Thanks
least-
to everybody watching. This was a lot of fun. Hey, tomorrow we're going to do another. We actually, like a lot of people thought, and actually I think the NFL thought too, that the schedule is going to come out tomorrow. It is actually going to be next Wednesday because they had some holdups Even Jim Irsay thought the schedule was coming out.
Now the schedule is coming out on the night that the state playoffs in soccer start. I'm going to have to miss a game.
Sorry, you have all these. Griffin House had to reschedule their show tomorrow night for you because it couldn't be tomorrow night. Now you have a different conflict.
That's right. Roger should call me, and I have some open nights, and that's when they should release the
When
schedule.
are your open nights?
I don't know. I got 4 tennis leagues this summer. It's filling up quickly here.
And speaking of,
So jealous of your life.
Adam, I know I was watching Hogan Johns the other day or yesterday on the gym. You're welcome. Great show. Great to have you guys doing your thing again. But you were saying you haven't seen very many movies here.
I really have
this
not.
year.
I need a list of
which
movies.
I'm a big movie guy.
Yeah.
Today is
Marley movie.
Today is the release of
Phenomenal.
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes in theaters.
That's not my thing.
Not your thing?
Don't be a complete loser. Please
No.
don't say that out loud.
No, dude.
The
I
Kingdom
can't-
of the Apes.
The Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Look,
this is the 4th installment. The first 3 were phenomenal. The second one, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, is one of my favorite sci-fi movies. It's like top 5.
I think I remember you tweeting about this during the Super Bowl.
I'm so excited for this. I probably got to wait till the weekend. So no spoilers, chat, and I'm fucking serious.
What was your What were you saying about Marley? Marley and Me?
The Marley
dog
movie.
I
Bob Marley.
can't watch
I need to
Bob
watch the Bob
not
Marley movie.
It's
Yes,
phenomenal.
that's on my list.
It's phenomenal.
Okay. Actually, that might have to be at the top. I don't know. We're starting to get in that time where
The Marley movie, whatever it was called, I forget. One Love or whatever it was.
I'd like to see that.
It was you missed the theater portion of it, but like literally everybody in the theater just sat there through the entire credits because you were in the fields and the music was playing and you really didn't want to go anywhere. It was awesome. All right, now I'm going to go cry. Bob Marley, the greatest.
okay. What I was going to say when we started that whole conversation was that we are going to do some schedule predictions tomorrow. In lieu of the schedule not coming out, we're going to make some predictions, what we think might happen, have some fun with it along the way.
And shout-outs tomorrow.
And we'll get some shout-outs.
Everybody is going to have a shout-out tomorrow.
1 week from today, they release the schedule. That's exciting.
Sorry, Carm's got soccer.
It needs to be the day before they're get it going on there.
Don't snap at Roger.
The day before, Raj, we don't need to wait till Wednesday. Enough with that BS Schefter report. Tuesday. Schedule. And make it early because I got tennis at 9.
Can't handle this. We'll talk to you tomorrow. See you later.
We all silly like the mayor.